Thank you for calling the Georgia Department of Natural Resources Law Enforcement Division.
Okay, all right. Well, we had a gentleman the other day call pretty much the same thing, and this is just the way the law is.
Hey guys, Sarah from Ryan's Outdoor, and today I'm making a video that I don't really want to make, but I think I should make so that other fishermen like yourselves who may fish streams and rivers in North Georgia are more aware of what the laws are for kayaking down these rivers or taking a boat down a river or creek. So this whole thing started because of an incident that I had with a landowner when I was kayaking down a river in North Georgia. This was only the second time I had ever kayaked down this section of the river. And this guy had some no fishing signs on his half of the river, which I thought was weird because prior to this day, I thought that if you put in at a public access point and you took out at a public access point at any part of a river, you know, you were good to just fish all of it as long as you stayed in your kayak. However, I was kind of wrong. So before I talk about this anymore, I'm going to go ahead and show you the footage. And I also really encourage you to watch this whole video. A lot of times I get comments on videos and it's like I can tell the person only watched the first couple minutes of the video because I addressed what they said later in the video. So anyway, here is the incident that we had with this landowner.
Hey guys. Hey. What side? This side. Of the river? Yeah. What do you mean? I can't cast in the water? Yeah. Hey guys. Yeah. I mean, I'm in the river. The law is we're allowed to be in the river.
Really? I had two guys. You want to stay? I can have you written up as well, dude. Trespass.
I mean, we're moving along, but...
What's that?
We're moving along. I'll look into the law, but I thought I was in the river. All right, we'll move along.
Sorry to bother you that we're here.
We're just moving along, man. I mean, we're fishing on the other side of the river. I'm casting the opposite side.
Okay, call the law.
All right, so that was the incident with that landowner. Like I said, I thought the law was that we were allowed to be in our kayaks as long as we weren't like wading on his half of the river. However, this guy thought it was different. He was really adamant about us not being on his side of the river or casting on his side of the river. And he wanted us to like wait for a law enforcement officer to come and tell us what the law was, which I was just trying to enjoy my day of fishing. I mean, I told him that I was going to look into the law. He didn't really seem to care. He just kept yelling at us. I mean, we were already past his house. So we were already downstream of his house, floating in this river. We were moving along. You know, that's what I kept saying. Like, we're in current. I mean, there was a slow little eddy that I was probably in for like a couple minutes fishing, kind of in front of this guy's house. But like, in the end, we're just some kayakers fishing, moving along through the river. It's like we're not going to be in your house, in front of your house for that long. But this guy, for whatever reason, was real annoyed that we were on his half of the river. He really didn't want us there. I mean, we weren't going to be there for very long, and we were already past his house for a lot of the time that he was yelling at us, which was the main reason. I was just, you know, didn't understand why this guy was so mad. But anyway, like I said in that clip, I told the guy I was going to look into this law, which is exactly what I did. So John had the idea of calling someone from the Georgia Wildlife Resources. So I went to georgiawildlife.com, and on georgiawildlife.com there's some different numbers you can call for like representatives from Georgia Wildlife, such as game management, fisheries management, law enforcement, and wildlife conservation. So I decided to contact law enforcement because I wanted to know about, you know, what my rights were as a fisherman kayaking down this river in North Georgia. Because this guy thought, you know, I wasn't allowed to fish on his side of the river or even cast on his side of the river. So I ended up calling this law enforcement number, and they ended up redirecting me to a different number that was for the specific county that I was fishing. So I actually filmed this call with this person, and here's how it went.
Thank you for calling the Georgia Department of Natural Resources Law Enforcement Division. Press 1 for hunting license, fishing license, and boat registration inquiries. Press 2 for DNR Law Enforcement Division Headquarters.
DNR Law Enforcement, this is Janine. Can I help you?
Hey, I had a question regarding like kayaking laws and like land ownership laws on the river because of like an altercation I had yesterday with a homeowner.
Yeah, what county is this? Alright, let me give you that regional number.
Hi, I had a question about kayaking laws and land ownership laws on the river because of an altercation I had with a homeowner yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yesterday I was floating down the river on a popular section from the kind of towards the beginning of the float. I was just fishing, and there was a guy who had a bunch of no fishing signs on his side of the river. And when I was floating down, he said I wasn't allowed to be on his half of the river. So I was just wondering, like, if this was the law or what exactly the law was with, you know, kayaking through the river.
Have you kayaked this section before?
Yes,
Have you had the same altercations with the same gentleman?
I have not. I mean, I've only done it twice, and this is the first time I've, you know, had an altercation with him.
Okay, all right. Well, we had a gentleman the other day call pretty much the same thing. Did he have what appeared to be traps or anything in his yard or something like that?
I don't think so. I mean, I did talk to some fishermen yesterday that I met who said they yelled at him a bunch too. I mean, this guy was real, just like, it's like he was just waiting to like yell at people.
Okay. Now, do you happen to know about where he was yelling at you? I'm just trying to figure out if it's the same gentleman. Yeah, if you could just put a pin down, I'd just like to know if this is the same gentleman. This would be the second complaint. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
And what did he say to you?
So he was just saying, you know, there's no fishing here. This is private property. I mean, we were like, you know, floating down the river, like moving along, and he was still yelling at us. And I just told him I thought the law was you can't walk in the river on his half. But I told him I'd look into it.
So here's the deal. The river is not a navigable stream. So with areas, and this is just the way the law is. So navigable streams, no matter who owns it, you can kayak and float down it, okay, and do all that stuff. But like which is non-navigable, if the landowner owns both sides of it, say the property, and then owns on the other side as well, they can stop the fishing within that section because that would be considered private waters. If he does not own both sides of the river, then it would go to the center channel.
Okay.
And at that point, you can float, but as far as fishing, if they're telling you not to fish, if he owns both sides, then, you know, that's kind of, even though you're not touching the bottom, and we talked about this, had mates, and it's a big thing, but if, you know, a lot of people are like, well, I'm not touching the water, I'm just floating through and fishing. Technically, by law, still, if he owns both sides, then he does kind of control what happens in that section of the water.
Okay, so if he only has signs that say no fishing on one side. So if he only owns that one side, like, am I just allowed to fish on like the left side of the river and not?
Yeah, I mean, and maybe one day this gets a little bit better, but the way it currently is, if he doesn't own if he only owns one side to the center of the channel, and you know, and he's actively telling you, hey, you can't fish this or whatnot, if you're, you know, just on the other side of the channel and you're fishing, then, I mean, technically, as long as the line don't cross the center of it, you're good, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, so yeah, technically.
Like, you float down, he owns the right side, you're in the middle of the channel, or you stay to the left side of the channel there, and you fish that left side of the channel and make sure your line doesn't cross the quote-unquote center of the channel. technically by law you're good.
Okay, okay. And so am I not even allowed to have my kayak on his half? Like if I'm not fishing, is it allowed to have my kayak on his half, or?
So your kayak, he's asking even if he has his kayak on that half, even though he's not fishing. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so so if I just go past his house, I should just stay on like the opposite side, and then I'll be fine.
That's Yep. Yep. So if he does, like I said, he has it, he is enforcing it. And what happens is a lot of times you got people that don't even care.
Yeah.
But then you have a lot of people out there that take it as, that kind of try to dig into it and be like, oh, I can tell people not to float on this side or not fish on this side. And technically by law they can if, they own up to the center channel.
Yeah.
But so what you would do, just stay to the left of the channel. Now until the other landowner comes out there and puts signs and starts telling you.
Yeah.
Then at that point, then you wouldn't be able to stop it. In a lot of other places, like for example, Toccoa.
Yeah.
It's a popular thing, but these landowners are coming up from Florida. They're buying these big houses on the river, and they're pretty much trying to stop access of anybody floating these rivers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just surprised me because, I mean, I'm sure that there's people that kayak there all the time.
Yeah, so do the kayaking and stuff like that. It's not biased to one person. So if the kayak people are doing it, then technically they can shut that down.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, or when I say shut it down, what he can do is get an affidavit on it, and then, pretty much in a sense, call LE and get them to address the situation and charge them for, trespassing. And then if they're fishing, fishing without permission.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's a big gray area, big issues, because you have these streams that look and appear as what, a kayaker or fisherman would be like, oh, that's navigable. You look at the water depth, and you're like, okay, no, I can't go through that. Or, that's not wide enough. That's a creek, not really a river.
Yeah.
But you see a lot of these rivers, the Toccoa and stuff like that, those are not navigable, by law.
Yeah.
I didn't make the law. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, we've this is the second one, so I guess this new homeowner is not wanting people to use the river.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. All right. Well, thanks for telling me about all this, and it's good to know for next time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, if you ever have any other issues, just give us a call.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Have a good day. Bye. Well, let me know what you think about this whole situation in the comments down below. That call was definitely a little bit surprising that the DNR officer did. I mean, he kind of sided with the landowner. I mean, he just told me how it was. He told me what the law was. He's like, unfortunately, this is the case. He was very nice about it. Just told me everything, what the law was and everything. So let me know what you think about that. I will also say before I end out this video that there is a really good article that just came out about this issue, and it has to do with the Flint River on Yellow Jacket shoals. I guess it's a really popular area for catching shoal bass on the Flint River, and some of the landowners have put up signs that say you can't fish there or whatever. I don't know. You can just read the article down below, but it's a great article to read on this issue. I'll just say that. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. But I'll catch y'all in that next video. Thanks for watching.